a few years back now, I was very, very lucky to meet this wonderful lady. She came into the studios actually at Sky. And you know, when there are certain things that say a name of a certain, era in time, isn't it? It's like glam rock 70s. You know, you think of things like Mark Bolan, T-Rex, David Bowie. And then, of course, when you think of the 60s, correct me if I'm wrong, chums, because I wasn't there, of course. But what's interesting is you think of things like Carnaby Street, don't you? The swinging 60s. Everything was just hip and happening and cool, man, and everything like that. It was the place to be in that particular era. And there were very famous names along that time that, everybody remembers. Twiggy, for instance, lovely lady, still with us today. Bieber, remember that? And of course, this woman, Mary Quant. And I wanted to share a story that she shared with me, which I thought was just absolutely divine. But when you think about it, so in keeping with the time. As ever, let me explain. Morning, chums. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome, one and all, and welcome back, everybody. By the way, I'm glad you like the sort of throw-off line about Yorkshire puddings. Yes, you see. I can see you're all going to be trying them. Many of you ask me, are they quite fattening? Not really. But I tell you what I would say about Yorkshire puddings, though, is you feel instantly full, right? You think, ooh, but very quickly, or is it just me? Maybe it's just me. But very quickly, you can eat more again. Yeah. And I like them cold as well. Yes, I don't mind how they come. Just lovely. But thank you for your lovely comments, and thank you for letting me know about your stuff. I'll be looking more about that, what's happened around the world and what sort of things you like to eat and stuff like that. What was the one I saw the other day now? And it was a sponge cake and it had pink icing on. It was nice with coconut toppings. And somebody told me, not a Florida slice. Oh, I know. I shouldn't go out. You like that. I look at things, oh, that looks nice. Suddenly you've put on half a stone. You've got to be careful, haven't you? You couldn't have half a stone if you were in the swinging 60s. It was all about being thin, right? Because Twiggy started that look long before Kate Moss in the 90s, right? Twiggy, I just think, is a lovely lady. Met her many times. Sat next to her, in fact, on a couple of occasions at sort of theatre events and stuff. Just a really nice woman, so easy to chat to. Leslie Hornby. Yeah, that was her real name, of course, but if you were a girl in the swinging 60s, that was the name, alongside Mary Quant. Now, as I said, I met Mary Quant, and what I liked about Mary was she was one of those people that still had the look, a little bit like Xandra Rhodes, very snazzy, very snappy, all that sort of stuff. The reason why she came into the studio, and I found the interview the other day, the reason why she came into the studio, she'd been made a dame. And as she pointed out, she couldn't quite believe that she'd been made a dame because, of course, her thing was fashion designer. Everybody knew her. And, she was the sort of part and parcel of the thing like the swinging 60s. And I said to her, the miniskirt, how shocking was it? I mean, her answer, I thought, was just brilliant. You see, I don't own the interview now, so sadly I can't put it out. But the thing is, she said, well, what we did, Neil, was I just wanted to get clothes that were of the time. She said, and you've got to remember, we were dancing a lot more different, say, to the decade before, you were going around the floor. She said, so, the skirts had to be a bit shorter. She said, and even when, we were doing fashion shoots, the magazine editors would say, can you make the skirts shorter? And she thought, gosh, any shorter, there's going to be no skirt. But it was interesting, as she said, how it all developed, right? Now, where this was fascinating to me, because I said to her, did any of the royals ever wear your clothes? And she said, well, we did, sometimes send some of the latest designs over to Kensington Palace. But of course, she said they were not suitable for somebody of the Queen's age. And I, she was very respectful. She was a big royalist, and she was very respectful. But she said, you kind of wonder, well, the younger people, would they like to wear it? And I said, well, did you ever find out about, the royals and all that sort of stuff? And she said, and I thought this was just lovely, and I thought I'll share this with you. Apparently, when they have the meeting, they have the chat and everything, and she met the Queen on a number of occasions, and she said, oh no, we didn't have that. And apparently, according to her, she asked the Queen, well, did you ever wear any Quant? And the Queen said, oh, I'm wearing some now. And Mary said, oh, thinking, I don't recognise that, but looking down. And the Queen said, no, dear, your makeup, it's very good and it stays on. I've been very impressed with the concealer. And apparently Mary said, oh, right, completely caught me out. And she said at that point, she realised that, well, then she said loads of makeup, obviously, but as she said, you know, you never knew who was taking your product, who was wearing it, and more importantly, the endorsement that it could have. And I said to her, this is, you know, Mary to the Queen, she said, thank you for that. Honestly, it's nice to know that you do genuinely like it. She said, oh, yes, and I'm not alone. She said, there's many people in here that are wearing your makeup right now. So in a way, you see, the Queen really did swing in the 60s, but not in the way that you possibly thought. Neil Sean in the very heart of Kensington.